Welcome to the Livfiit Listens podcast, a safe space of growth, personal development, and overall wellness with your host, Olivia Catania, diving into the realms of all things health, conscious living, mental expansion, and much more. This podcast is designed to help you evolve into your best self and live fit. Let's get into the show. Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of the Livfiit Listens podcast. This episode idea really came over me. Yesterday, but also this morning when I was meditating, it really got even deeper and louder and stronger to me. And I was like, okay, we have to take this to the podcast. So today I'm going to be speaking all about how your success is inevitable. This is basically the pep talk that you may have been needing if you've been feeling really discouraged, or if you just have this really big vision for your life that can feel daunting and overwhelming, and you're just worried and fearful of it actually never coming into fruition or it actually actualizing. This episode is 100% for you. I feel like that has been a really big thing that I've personally been going through in my mid-20s, and this kind of realization has helped me majorly. So I just want to bring it to you in today's episode. But before we get into it, my gratitude for today's episode is I have some really exciting brand work that I'm going to be doing. I'm working with my first ever hotel on an official basis to get some content for them. So that is super exciting. I'm really excited. I actually have it's with the same hotel, but I'm doing 2 different locations for them. So I'm so grateful for that opportunity. I'm really just grateful for the experience, really, before anything else, just because, again, this is my first hotel that I've ever worked with on an official basis. So I think this will be a really great opportunity to build my portfolio. And this also was a big goal of mine for this year, was to kind of start to dive into the traveling sector and work with brands in the travel niche and everything. So I'm super excited. This really was a big goal of mine. So I can't believe it's actually happening. It's finally official. So I'm really looking forward to that and for that new experience. So without further ado, let's get into this episode. So again, if you are someone who is struggling and you really feel like you're far away from your dream life, so without further ado, let's get into it. I just know if you are a listener of this podcast, I can just tell that you are someone who not only has a lot of awareness, but you most likely are someone who's really into growth, really designing a life that you love and becoming your best version in order to be able to live that life that you love. And with that can come a lot of pressure. I love being a visionary. That's how I am. I really have always had a pretty clear vision, and kind of more so just I've had a lot of clarity on what I want my life to feel like overall. I'm not really great on the specifics, which, side note, this actually goes back to your human design. If you don't know what your human design is, it's basically kind of like how we have a zodiac sign and there's astrology and all of that. It's kind of like your energy's fingerprint, if that makes sense. You can look it up. But with that, you can be 2 different types of a manifester. So you could either be a specific manifester or a non-specific manifester. And I'm actually a non-specific manifester, which also makes so much sense. Basically, that just means kind of exactly what it sounds like. If you're a specific manifester, when you're thinking of your life, where you want to go, when you're thinking of your vision, you're going to be someone who finds it easy, but also you're going to resonate a lot with thinking of actual specifics and what you want your dream house to look like, what you want a car to look like. So for example, because again, as opposed to someone who's a non-specific manifester, they kind of just overall know how they want their life to feel, even though they may not know the color of their house. So for example, a specific a specific manifester may be oh, I know that I want this house on this street by this beach and I want it to be yellow. I can fully already envision what my master bathroom's going to look like. I already know what the comforter I want on my bed's going to be like. And you have a very clear picture of what your manifestations are. Whereas opposed to a non-specific, that may stress you out to think of the details, or you may not have a crystal clear image and vision on the specifics and on the details, but you know overall what you want it to feel like. So for example, I know, again, being a non-specific manifester, I know that I want a Porsche Cayenne. That's my dream car, but I don't thinking exactly of the model that I want, the year that I want, the exact exterior and interior I want. That kind of stresses me out to think about it, and I don't really not that I don't care, but it's like not at my forefront. My bigger thing for me is thinking about how it's going to make me like feel and what I want that manifestation to feel like, if that makes sense. So I've totally got off a side tangent, but I honestly thought it was super cool when I first learned about it. So anyways, the reason why I was going on that whole side tangent to begin with is to say that even though it can be so exciting to have this vision for your life and to have big goals, and like it can feel, it can light you up, like that's what we want our goals in life to do. That's like exactly what we want. But at the end of the day, kind of the flip side of that is that it can totally feel daunting. It can feel overwhelming. It's kind of, if you're like, okay, great, I know I want to go climb that mountain, but that's top of the mountain seems really far away. Like, how the hell am I going to do that? Or this seems so hard, or this seems like really far off. It's totally normal. And that's really something I've been going through personally. Just like get vulnerable for a second and be transparent. Like I found, especially in the past year or two, that has been a fear of mine in the back of my mind of like, but what if like the things that I've always wanted don't actually come into fruition? What if, I can't actually achieve these things? Because especially when we care so deeply about having this like kind of vision in mind for our lives, like it can really bring pressure to it, because if you want it so badly, you want to make sure it actualizes. And so then the thought of that not happening can be really disheartening and scary and be, cause you to be fearful and all the things. So if this sounds like you, if you're really wanting to come into alignment with your dream life and you're wanting to create it, but it may feel far off, it feels like you have a lot of work to do, or you're worrying about maybe not being able to get it to come through, this episode is 100% for you. I'm basically going to dive into some really big realizations that I've had that have helped my mindset a ton, that of course I am hoping will help you as well. So here's the thing. This was the biggest thing that came through for me in my meditation this morning that was so loud. Like I've been on this thing where I've been kind of doing like a rampage of affirmations where I'm kind of almost speaking as if like a coach is talking to me, like trying to hype me up before I'm going out in a game or like about to do a wrestling match or some shit. Like I kind of have been going and like speaking to myself like that. I've been doing it out loud. I've been like giving myself like a pep talk, hyping myself up, etc. And kind of with that is what led me to kind of like having this realization of like, oh my gosh. And that realization is you are actually living your dream life now. I feel like totally, and let me explain. I'm not saying that to like bypass anything. I'm being for real. I feel like in the manifestation world, or when it comes to like any grind mentality, go-getter mentality, they're always like, figure out what your goals are, where you want to be, what you want your life to look like, and basically work backwards and act from there. Totally valid, totally agreed with that. But at the same time, it always seems like this dream life is kind of always off in the distance, or something like you need to go achieve. And basically what I've personally been working on is collapsing that time between where I am now and where I want to be, and merging that into one, and actually dropping into the present moment and kind of collapsing those timelines. And I'm finding that the more I'm feeling like my dream life is something I need to go kind of create or like go achieve and capture and do, like the farther away it seems, because I'm just basically emphasizing that it's not already here. And this mindset shift like really helped me to collapse the time, because basically like we all know the concept in theory that like time actually is not real. Time doesn't really exist. It's only something that we've made in our society for like convenience purposes. But if you really think about it, you right now are in the middle of what you prayed for. Whether you realize it or not, you are. And I want you guys to like actually carry that with weight and like take a second to reflect back on that. Like you truly are in the middle of what you've prayed for. Meaning you a few years ago were most likely dreaming about maybe not your whole entire life situation and picture, but there are definitely at least a few things that you a few years ago desperately really wanted and prayed for, and you have them now, okay? And basically that realization for me was like, I am basically living my past definition of what I deemed my dream life right now. And since time doesn't exist and everything's subjective, based on that like kind of definition, I am currently living my dream life right now as we speak. And the thing is, I think like this is so normal. And I think we have to keep this in mind. Your goals a few years ago are not your same goals now. And that's okay. And it's supposed to be that way, because that means you've grown. And I saw this beautiful quote on social media that says, maybe you don't feel like you're making any progress because you constantly keep raising the bar, which is like 100, like it's so good. I'm going to say it again. Maybe you don't feel like you're making any progress because you keep raising the bar. Hello, mind blown. I don't think we realize, because it's such like a subconscious thing which is great, but because like growth is natural, we're always constantly going through evolution. It's kind of the same thing. You don't really realize your hair is growing until a lot of time's gone by and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to go get a haircut, right? You don't notice, you don't always notice the progress that you're making because there's such baby steps on the day to day, and your goals are slowly morphing into something new and updated again as they should. But it's so important to make sure that we're actually acknowledging that and recognizing that, because I think the biggest detriment that we can do in our path is constantly being so hard on ourselves and constantly feel like we're failing. And it's so normal to feel that way, unfortunately, because we're our own worst and harshest critic. But when we have that mindset, like, you basically just want to do everything you can to remind yourself that you are moving forward, to keep your spirits up, to keep your motivation up, to keep your inspiration up. I'm such a firm believer in that. But so maybe right now in this moment, you're like, I'm not living my dream life though. I have all these goals that I want to achieve and blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? I can at least speak for myself. Guess what? Me 3 years ago didn't even know, just because I wasn't as evolved. I didn't learn as much. I wasn't in this phase of my journey. I was, and 3 years ago at a completely different spot. I didn't even know of these goals that I have currently. I didn't even know they existed to have as goals for me to set. Do you know what I mean? Like, my awareness wasn't even there yet. My sights weren't even set on the goals that I have now. So it's like, no, maybe not in this very moment are all of my goals in front of my face, actualized, manifested in my reality at this moment. But what I can show you is proof of a past pattern. And that past pattern is what I deemed as my goals in my dream life a few years ago. I am living those things in my big picture. Again, sometimes there's a delay between your manifestation, your 4D, your visualization, your embodiment, and what actually is able to be constructed in the 3D. Sometimes there is that delay, which is what we're seeing. So it's like, if we're going off this theory where time does not exist and we are completely taking time out of the picture, we technically are living our dream lives right now. If you are living some of the goals you had 2, 3, 4 years ago, this was your dream life. These were your goals and they're here now. So you still are currently living your dream life. You now just need to wait for your new goals that you've now set to update and basically refresh and upload into our current 3D reality, which you'll see in due time. So that was kind of my first realization that kind of hit me hard of like, no, I actually am, my dream life is here right now. I am in the context of a previous version of me. Again, if we're collapsing time, in the context of a previous version of me, this is my dream life. This is exactly what I wanted to do, especially like 18-year-old me. I didn't even have any awareness to dream further of like what else could possibly this could entail. This is exactly what I wanted to do. Okay, great. So I am currently living my dream life. And the thing is I'm still the same, like, of course I've grown and evolved, but I'm still Olivia Catania, who I was when I was 18. I'm still the same person I am as 25, just, more evolved and everything. And the same thing, me in 3 years is still going to be me at the end of the day. So sure, these things may be taking linear time and 3D reality, but at the same time, by the time your new goals actually manifest into your 3D, the moment is still going to be now. It's still going to be in the present moment, the present situation, because that's truly all we have. So it's all one and the same. I hope this makes sense. Like, it made so much sense to me, the way that I was like kind of viewing time and everything, and how I just like see different versions of myself. You literally already are living your dream life, just an older version of you that needed some time for your dreams to manifest and upload into the 3D reality. And now you're basically looking to repeat the cycle of setting new goals. And in due time, once it uploads into 3D reality, you will also be living that reality. So your dream life is now, because once your new set of goals actualizes, it's still going to be in the now. You're still going to be experiencing it in the present moment, and you're still going to be the same you at the end of the day. So everything is all entirely happening right now. I know that's also like a very spiritual concept of like, now is the only moment we have. So like, everything is constantly happening in the present moment. But when you see yourself in versions like that, it really helped me to kind of collapse the timeline of everything. And I just kind of also want to use myself as an example. And I really want to stress, this is not for me to say, look at what I've done, blah, blah. That's totally not my point. It's more so just for proof and kind of inspiration for you to reflect on your life and say, oh my gosh, wow, I actually did have that goal and I am living it now, but I completely forgot because I completely upgraded my goals since then. So I want you to actually think back to goals you've set for yourself 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago and ask yourself what has actually come into fruition. I'm sure some of those goals were aligned with an old version of you that you really don't care about anymore or weren't like a true desire, so they kind of fell off or whatever. But think about where you wanted to be 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, goals you had set, and think about what goals have actually come into fruition now in your life. And use that as proof. Because if you were able to create those things, you 100% will be able to do it again. If you can do something one time, you can do it a million times, okay? So if you've done it once, you can 100% do it again. That is the only proof that you need of basically the concept of manifestation. And I don't say manifestation of this woo-woo thing of like write your goals 3 times in a journal and put a crystal under your pillow. No, I'm speaking about manifestation in a very practical sense of basically combining neuroscience of your brain, aligned action with your goals, and repeating it day after day until you actually create different circumstances in your life. So that realization for me of how much of what my goals were in the past, recognizing how much of them are actually in my present day, made me be like, why am I so stressed that I'm not going to be able to do it again? Why am I so stressed and fearful that these big goals and these visions and the vision I had for my life won't ever actualize? Like, everything else has actualized up into this moment. So what's going to prevent that or stop that from going forward? And that just like released so much pressure. And so I want to share a few things, like honestly, a ton of things. First and foremost, when I was 17 and 18, I think I was 16, 17 actually, when I started Livfiit, it was started as an Instagram page of just purely fitness stuff. I wanted to do social media full time. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to be a business owner. And I wanted to do Livfiit. At 17 years old, I had no idea what that was going to look like. I didn't even know how that was going to unfold, how it was going to manifest, but I wanted to do social media full time. Guess what? I'm doing social media full time. I'm running my brand. I wanted to make money off of social media. I'm making money off of social media. I'm doing it full time. I wanted to have a meaningful job where I'm impacting people and a job that makes me feel filled with passion and purpose. That's what I'm doing. This is like, I'm basically doing what my dream is. Also, when I was 16, 17, I really wanted to be that really dope gym girl who was shredded. I really wanted to build muscle and build like some curves and have a gym body and be really strong and just like a badass in the gym. I have all of those things. I'm doing all of those things. I really wanted to work with Affy since 2019. Guess what? I'm working with Affy. Like I wanted to travel often. I wanted to be able to travel whenever I wanted. And guess what? I'm doing that too. So again, like none of this it's not everything that I guess thought it would be, in the sense of like, it doesn't look exactly like I thought it would. And of course, there's still so much that I still want to evolve into with what I'm doing. But in terms of my overall big picture, like I did it. I'm doing it. It's actualized. And that is like such proof that if I've done all of this once, why do I feel like I can't continue to create to begin with? What am I so fearful of if I'm literally living proof, quite literally living proof that I could create the life that I want to create? And this doesn't have to be super massive. Like, again, my point of this podcast is to be uplifting and encouraging. So I don't want anyone listening to be like, well, I didn't completely redesign my life in that sense. But I guarantee you have 1, 2, 3 things that you can think of that were big goals for you that were able to come through and that actualized and that you're living now or you achieved maybe a year ago. Like, I just want you to think, start small. If you have a major list, amazing. But just start small and use it as proof of if I was able to get that to come through and manifest, the sky's the limit for me. It's literally just the epitome of like, if I figured it out once, if I did it once, I could 100% figure it out and do it again. And the last thing, the third piece of this podcast episode that I want to talk about is that your success is inevitable, okay? If you continue to trust the process, stay consistent, put one foot in front of the other, and actually align your action steps and your thoughts and your beliefs and your mindset to the life you want to have, right? Because I'm not sitting here saying, oh, I just wanted to manifest that I, did social media full time, so I wrote it down, but I still haven't started an Instagram page, or I'm not consistent, or I'm too scared to post, and I'm just hoping that I get 100,000 followers. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, right, make sure we're taking aligned actions. Our mindset is also aligned, and you continue to stay the course. It is quite literally inevitable that you are going to achieve what you want to achieve. This entire concept was absolutely massive for me with not only keeping my spirits up, but honestly staying consistent because I had my spirits up. Like, I don't think people realize how important it is for you to see the purpose and kind of almost the what's the word I want to use? Or kind of like, it's so important for you to see the benefit or the light at the end of the tunnel for what you're doing, or else you're going to feel very discouraged, and therefore that's going to impact your consistency and you're eventually going to fall off. What I mean by this is, if you are saying, okay, I really want to go become a full-time content creator or whatever it is, and you're thinking, well, I don't know, like, I know I have to put in a lot of work. I have to be really consistent. I really have to make sure I'm posting. And someone says, okay, you have to post every day for a year. And maybe if you're lucky, you'll be able to become a full-time content creator. So there's that. Think about how that feels. But now in comparison to if someone told you, if you're consistent and you post every single day for a year on social media, you are 100% guaranteed that you will become a full-time content creator. It's already yours. You're done. Just check it off the box. You are going to be a full-time content creator by the end of this year. That sounds so much more encouraging. You see the light at the end of the tunnel. You kind of see the reward. You see the goal. And it's just so much more encouraging to actually put in that work when you know your kind of goal is on the other side of it, as opposed to doing all this work and like crossing your fingers and hoping that it's going to, carry you through. So mindset and really affirming to yourself and keeping your spirits up is so important, because consistency is everything. You can't get anywhere without consistency. How does a car get from point A to point B? The wheels are continuously and consistently turning, right? So here's the thing. Action is so important. We absolutely need it. The second piece is really aligning your thoughts, your belief systems, and your mindset to be supportive of your goals and in alignment of your goals. Because again, if you don't have a flourishing mindset, if you don't feel like you're good enough, if you're doubting yourself, that is 100% going to impact your ability and consistency with taking inspired action, which we need that action to get things to actually manifest in our 3D. We live in a very physical world. So as long as you are taking that action, you're aligning your thoughts and your actions with your goals, and you're doing it day after day after day over and over and over again, and you're consistent with it, it is quite literally inevitable that you will be successful and you will achieve what you're looking to achieve. It's literally, it's sequential. It's A plus B plus C equals D every single time. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And a really good analogy that really helps me as well is it's exactly like baking a cake. If you're like, okay, I really want to bake this specific cake, you go on Pinterest, you see what the ingredients you need, you follow the instructions to a T of how to actually make it, you put it in the oven, and you're not like losing it and saying, oh my gosh, like, why is it taking so long? Are you sure it's okay in there? Is it coming? Being super stressed. If you're actually just letting it chill, you're patient, you're detached, you're allowing it to cook in the oven, once you take it out, you will get your cake. It's the same. That's exactly how life is. And that's like what I'm learning. I'm not trying to say it's clear cut that you won't have obstacles and challenges down the road. That's not what I'm saying. But in terms of a macro, big picture theory of how life works, literally, it's inevitable. If you are putting in a certain input, you are going to get a certain output every single time. If you just stay the course, you are quite literally bound to get there. It's the same thing as if you were to follow the GPS to drive from Utah to Las Vegas. If you simply just follow the freaking GPS and you don't stop, even when things, you don't recognize where you are, even when things are kind of like, damn, I'm literally on an empty road with no one around. Am I still going the right way? You trust the GPS and you keep going, and guess what? You are going to get to Las Vegas. But the problem is, people are driving on the road. They're like, wow, I haven't passed another car in a long time. Wow, I'm literally just like in a desert. There's nothing around me. Am I sure there's going to be a gas station anytime soon? Blah, blah. And then you turn around and go home, or you don't finish it, and you don't actually continue. You don't stay the course and finish the course, and then you don't ever get there. And then you think, oh, I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. When that's not true. You just simply weren't staying the course. I swear, like, looking at things very logically like this and almost like objectively has helped me a lot. And also, I don't know if you guys know Alex Hormozi, super well-known guy. He says, take such a high volume of action that it would be literally unreasonable for you not to succeed. Take such a high volume of action that it would be unreasonable for you not to succeed. And this is just where it comes to a statistics numbers game. If you keep showing up every day, if you keep trying, I'm just using the content creator example just because it's like easy, but if you kept posting day after day after day, you kept going. Gary Vee says that you keep swinging, you keep going at bat, and you keep swinging and swinging and swinging. Eventually, just simply from statistically speaking, you're going to hit a home run because you're having more tries. It's the same thing if you were to go buy a lottery ticket. If all lottery tickets were free, statistically speaking, the more lottery tickets you have, the higher chances you have of winning the lottery, simply just because of a numbers and statistics game. So I'm just trying to say, like, believe in yourself more and trust the process more and stop giving so much credit to life derailing you. A, and B, stop feeling like everyone else is so much better than you and that you're not deserving or worthy of greatness, or you're just doomed to have a life that's hard and that you struggle with, because it's purely just not true. And if you feel like you have proof that tells you your life is hard and you're not going anywhere and you're not cut out to love the life that you live, I'm calling bullshit on you. Look around you and find the proof that says otherwise, because there is. You will always find what you are looking for, okay? You will always find what you're looking for. And that's exactly why I kind of wanted you guys to do this exercise. For example, of course, if I'm like, I still want to get to A, B, and C, and I don't have any of those things, that is someone who has a negative headspace, a scarcity mindset would be, see, I don't have what it takes. You know, like, my life is hard. It's always off in the distance. Like, everyone else is so lucky to have what they want. Okay, that's one piece of the coin, because there's two sides to every story. That is not a self-serving mindset, in my opinion. The contrary of what you can do to find proof, to prove to yourself that you are worthy and capable of a life that you love, is to think on the flip side and say, okay, actually, what are some goals that I had a year or two ago that I'm living now? Oh my gosh, I just thought of 5 things. That's so cool. That's proof that I can do it and that I can create a life that I can intentionally create my life. Basically, let's just leave it at that. And those are two completely different spaces to act from. And both of those realizations and thought processes have a totally different impact on your mindset and therefore your actions that you take and therefore your life. You're just so much more capable than you think. There's so much more possibility and potential out there than you think. You just need to hold your frame, trust the process, and continue the process for long enough to give it the chance to actualize. A lot of people cut it short too quickly, and they give up, or their mindset gets in the way, whatever. You just need to say, I don't even care how long it takes, because you don't necessarily know, quote unquote, how long the road's going to be. So you don't necessarily know how long it's going to take to get to Las Vegas, but what you do know is that if you follow this road, eventually at some point you will hit Las Vegas. And that's kind of just how I feel about my life. And that was kind of a big thing that I turned to when I really, like, right before I really was able to pursue social media full time, before my platforms really had like a big growth spurt. That was a big thing for me of like, I was like, I know I want to do this so deeply in my soul. This is what I'm deciding for my life. I want to be a full-time content creator. Like, this is me. I'm claiming this. I'm aligning with it. And I said, I don't even care how long it takes. And I know that if I do this for long enough, it is inevitable that I will get to the point, simply just from us speaking about reps of creating content. I'm inevitably going to get better the more that I do it, simply of exposure, of kind of like buying those lottery tickets. Every time I post, I'm buying a lottery ticket. The more times I buy a lottery ticket, the higher chances I have of winning, aka the more times I post, the higher chances I have of landing on people's For You pages or explore pages and them converting to a follower. Again, simply just a numbers game. And the other thing is that people don't tell you, a lot of people freaking quit. Okay, so a lot of people think they have all this competition that they have to deal with. And spoiler alert, you really don't. Like 70% of the people who start are going to quit and fall off. Because another analogy that I have, I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but another analogy that I have that I always tell myself, if you wait in line long enough, eventually your time is going to come. Meaning, if I was waiting in line, I wanted to go to my favorite donut shop, and they're super popular, and it was a Sunday morning, it was a rush hour, and they have a super long line down the block, looping around everywhere. Eventually, if you stay standing in line, your time is going to come, because the line eventually is just going to keep moving. And guess what else is going to happen? Some people are going to be too tired. They're like over it. They're like, I don't want to keep waiting. They get out of line, aka they quit. Some people actually saw a different option and said, actually, I don't even want a donut. I want a cookie. I'm going to go over here. Basically saying some people want to change lanes anyways. And before you know it, all this time that you thought you were going to have to wait and all this competition you thought you were going to have to sort through completely just fell away. So stay your course, stay true to what you know that you want. Make sure you're actually aligning. This is so important. Make sure you're aligning your actions and your mindset with the life that you want to have, right? I'm not saying to wave a magic wand. We're putting in the work, but make sure you're doing it over and over and over again and long enough for your dream life to actually have a chance to actualize. Know your success is inevitable, so don't quit. Don't quit. Don't get lost in the doubt. Like, of course, these things are normal. Doubts, fears, they're normal, but don't give them so much power. Don't give your emotions so much power to the point where they're derailing you, because that's what happens to a lot of people. And even I was experiencing that. Just come back to these 3 logical, objective concepts, and I promise you it's really going to help you understand that your timing is bound to come and that your success is inevitable. And the last thing that I want to say quickly is to remind you that success is a journey, it's not a destination. That was one of the first quotes my dad ever told me, and this is something I constantly need to remind myself because I am very goal-oriented. I love that about myself. It's just how I operate, but at the same time, it's a really important reminder to still enjoy the ride, okay? This is life. It's supposed to be fun. It is a game at the end of the day, whether it may not feel like fun all the time. But it is a game. Like, the whole point of us coming here, like, if we didn't have all these things to figure out, life wouldn't be fun. There would be no point. Like any good game, there's a challenge that you need to overcome in order to get to the other side. And that's exactly what life is. So it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyed. It's kind of like the same thing. Like, don't get so lost in making it to the top of the mountain that you forget to actually enjoy the hike. So don't forget to look around, stop and enjoy the scenery, all metaphorically, but don't get so lost in where you're going that you forget to appreciate where you are. And spoiler alert, the more that you can be present, the more that you can be grateful, the more magnetized and aligned in clarity you will have, which will help to benefit your decisions and actions going forward. So that was kind of such a big sporadic episode. But anyway, quick overview, review. If you're feeling like, oh my gosh, like I'm never going to live my dream life, I'm going nowhere, everything's crashing and burning, here are the things to remember. Number 1, you are living your dream life now. You quite literally are currently living the past definition of your dream life, because things take a second to upload in our 3D. So that is literal proof that you can create the next version of your dream life in due time once things upload again. So be confident in that and know that as proof you already are currently living your dream life right now, and in due time, a new version of you will be living your new dream life. We just need to be patient. Number 2 is to remind yourself of all the things and goals and dreams and visions that you had 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and think about what actually has actualized now, what has come into fruition now, and remind yourself that you were able to create those things. So again, proof that you can do it again. And number 3, know that your success is inevitable, okay? If you are taking so many swings at bat, if you're buying so many lottery tickets, if you're taking so much action, it is literally unreasonable and illogical for you not to succeed. Literally just based off of numbers, okay? Your success is inevitable. It's just like baking a cake. If you align your actions and your mindsets and do it over and over and over again for long enough, and you give your life time to actualize, you have no other choice but to arrive at your dream destination. And lastly, don't forget to enjoy the journey, because success is a journey, not a destination. So that is everything. I really hope this is helpful. I feel like this was a big mindset shift that really helped me, so I hope it does the same for you. The affirmation for today's episode is: my success is inevitable, and everything I do is more than enough to create the life of my dreams. My success is inevitable, and everything I do is more than enough to create the life of my dreams. Heavy on the second part, because I'm also someone who always thinks like, I could be doing more, I should be doing more, but no. Everything I do is more than enough to create the life of my dreams. I love you guys. If you enjoyed this podcast, and if you're still listening, I hope that means that you were able to derive some sense of value to this podcast. I would really appreciate it if you could leave either a rating or review. It really helps this podcast grow and reach more people and impact more lives. I also am running my 4th ever wellness retreat this November in Thailand. If you really enjoy what we talk about on the podcast, you would 100% love what goes down inside the retreats. They're just so fun. They are so immersive, and they are so transformative, and they're such a great way to meet new like-minded women, really get into a supportive container, experience sisterhood again, and of course, experience and travel in a beautiful new country. We have so many fun things on the itinerary. We're going to see elephants, elephants. We're having a Thai massage. We're doing waterfall hikes. We're going whitewater rafting. So many fun things. And then I will be hosting live meditation workshops, journaling workshops, and a group workout. And I, of course, will be traveling with you every single step of the way. We'll be able to spend 7 whole days together. We have 12 or 13 women signed up from right now. We have people from Australia, England, Canada, and I'm just so excited. It's going to be gorgeous. Trip dates are the 9th to the 15th, and I will have everything linked down below in the show notes or in the description box on YouTube if you would like to check out the trip page. I'm sending you guys so much love, and hopefully I'll see you in my next epi. Peace out.